So apologies for standing up, but I've been on a train from Glasgow, so I wanted to stand because I've been sitting most of the day, get some of that energy back into my legs. So thank you and good evening, everyone. I'm going to take my glasses off as well. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much to Edward for inviting me and to speak to you all this evening. And it's always a privilege to share the same stage as Yakemi, who I've known for a number of years now. She always gives such a great, powerful, inspiring speech. So I'm delighted to be here. I'd like to begin by sharing and invoking a shared memory with you all, on one that transcends all generations, it transcends all backgrounds, and it's the memory of our school days. I'm going to take you back there, okay? Particularly the break times. Who remembers their break times, their lunch times, and their morning breaks at school days? Remember the playground? Do you remember? So mine was tarmac, but my children's was a field. So I don't know what yours was. Was it kind of clay or, you know, a field or something like that? And the bell used to run out there, and it was an adventure. And certainly in their younger days, particularly when I was at primary school or infant school, it was often an adventure into the unknown. I didn't know what was coming next, really. But our imaginations were filled with wonder at that time, where friendships were created. They're often tested. We often lost friends and found friends in the playground, and they were often tested to their limits. And sometimes friendships got broken and we had to rebuild them. But it was also a place where teams were formed and rules were made, and we made up games. And you know, I remember I used to run out at lunchtime and I played football. I loved playing football. And so me and my pals, we always used to go out and we used to run, try and get to the benches, because the benches were the goals. So the bench either side of the playground, we used them as the goals. And we had to use that as a football, because my friend Chris Beckwith, one lunchtime, we had a big football and he broke a window. He smashed it against the classroom window. And so the teacher said we were no longer allowed to use the big ball, so we had to use a tennis ball. But you know, you became quite skillful using a tennis ball for a football. And so I want you to cast your mind back there. So indulge me a little bit. We're all friends here. We've got, you know, we're all amongst friends. We've got Peter and Edward and Freedom, I saw, and Kai's there, and Tule and Laurie. So all friends here. So close your eyes for me for 1 second and take yourself back to your playground. Just remember the noise. Remember the bustle, screaming and the shouting. Sometimes it was really hot, but other times it was really cold and you were sat huddled on the benches. There was lots of running around and chatting with friends. Maybe you were eating your snacks and your lunches, or going to the ice cream man and getting ice cream. This playful, adventurous and curious spirit. You had that endless energy as a child. Open your eyes. Did you go back there? Yeah. Do you remember it? Did you see all your old friends and your old teachers as well? Now, I think that this playfulness, I'm going to talk a lot about playfulness, is a spirit that mirrors one that fuels entrepreneurship. That uninhibited joy that we get from playing the game, the thrill of the competition, competing with friends and sometimes enemies, and having that boundless energy to, you know, be creative and to solve problems. And there's an image, actually. Do you want to put up the next image? This was the next one. That one in. So that was ChatGPT image. That was like my playground. That was like my program. And I think what we can do is we can channel that spirit, that playful spirit, into imagining the future of the Northeast region. And increasingly, the Northeast I see as being a playground for entrepreneurs, especially in those sectors that we've been speaking about, in energy, in digital and AI, in food and drink, in tourism, in life science, because I think each sector represents a segment of a new playground that we can all begin to play in, where we can leverage our strengths, but also our playfulness and our creativity to create new ventures and to innovate. So let's consider it energy to start with, because I see that as being one of the first playgrounds in the Northeast, because we've got, you know, lots of coastline, we have lots of powerful wind that's coming in to the Northeast, and that's an ideal location, particularly for wind energy. And there's huge opportunities there. And that global shift towards sustainability presents us all with a huge opportunity to be leaders. You know, imagine wind farms are not only powering all our domestic houses, but can also fuel our businesses and maybe we can start getting clean energy that we can then export to Europe. But it's no longer just about generating energy, but innovators are now thinking how we can store the energy, how we can use the data that we have from the energy, how we can develop preventive maintenance techniques. And here's the opportunity for startups to develop things like smart grids, battery technology, energy management systems that can play a pivotal role in that energy transition. So this is a playground for entrepreneurs, really. The spirit of play can be harnessed because we can experiment with new forms of energy generation, new forms of energy storage and distribution. And we can begin in Aberdeen to redefine what the energy sector looks like. The second playground is in the space of digital. And I'm standing in the OneTech Hub as well. And we're surrounded by people that are operating in this area, particularly artificial intelligence. I think artificial intelligence, as some of you know, is sort of the frontier of the digital age. And the northeast Scotland, and Aberdeen in particular, has the potential to become a real hub for AI innovation. And that's driven by this burgeoning sector that we have. That we've got people like Codebase and TechScaler, Laurie's here. We've got the OneTech Hub. We've got academic institutions like RGU and Aberdeen University, and we've got that's a data lab working in this space as well. So we need to consider the possibilities that artificial intelligence can have. So in energy, it can optimize the operation of wind farms. In healthcare, it can improve diagnostics and patient care. In the legal sector, for example, it can read thousands and thousands of cases in seconds and begin to write contracts that companies need. So we have this digital playground in the Northeast, and that again encourages us to think differently about things, to disrupt, to create solutions that enhance every aspect of our lives in a real positive and meaningful way. So that concept of play that I like to talk about in digital, it involves experimenting with new models, with new algorithms, those of you that are playing with that stuff, exploring data sets in new ways, and applying machine learning to sectors that haven't previously seen the likes of machine learning. And it's about playful exploration. It's about asking, what if? And that's an entrepreneurial trait, is to ask, what if, and to explore that. Wayne Gretzky, the famed ice hockey player, once said, skate to where the puck is going, not to where it's been. And I think that's the reason why he was such a successful ice hockey player. And then finally, the other sector I want to look at is food and drink and tourism. I'm delighted that Kaya's in the room because she has a food and drink company. Because it's important that the Northeast continues this incredible heritage that we have, this cultural heritage that we have. So, we've obviously got the shortbread, we've got the whiskey and the haggis, are global ambassadors for not just the Northeast, but also for Scotland. And here the concept of that playfulness, I think, comes alive in experimentation with new flavors, with new technologies, crafting new drinks, new spirits, and that innovation of farm to table strategies that continue to try and reduce waste and increase sustainability, and of course provide security, food security, not just for the Northeast, but for Scotland as well. And although the north of Scotland is in particularly celebrated for its whiskey, I still believe there's potential for so much more. We can pioneer food technologies like vertical farming, which I've seen in the Northeast. We can develop sustainable packaging, and we can start to create new novel products. I've read Cullen skink pie. Has anyone had a Cullen skink pie? Yeah, sounds nice. Amazing. Yeah, I quite fancy it. I've never had it, but I fancy it definitely. A haggis whiskey and mushroom parfait. Iron brew flavoured ice cream. I think somebody might have had that. I know that Mackie did that. And then, of course, couldn't not say about Carney Bees, because they've got honey infused with apple and cinnamon, which I have tasted, and it's fantastic. I've got a jar in my cupboard. So maybe she can share some of her infusions with you later. But she's innovating in a traditional space, really. And this playful exploration, I think entrepreneurs can experiment new ingredients with pairing, with production methods to enhance those products, offerings, and try and energize the food and drink sector, particularly in the Northeast. So in closing, who does remember their school days? And they're playing in the playground. Yeah, I certainly do. And one of my all-time favorite quotes, and I might even have this as on my headstone when I finally pass away, is by George Bernard Shaw. And George Bernard Shaw said, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing." Yeah? So we need to continue to play. And I challenge you all, there's a responsibility on us as entrepreneurs, as innovators in the Northeast, to really play and approach these entrepreneurial opportunities with the same enthusiasm, the same energy, the same creativity that you had in the playground when you were a child, and that you see your children have in the playground when they're playing with those friends. So that's the challenge that I set you, because as we continue to build this vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem in the northeast of Scotland, I invite you all to join that journey with a playful mindset that's adventurous and curious, because the bell isn't going to ring and call us back into class. We will trudge back to class. That's not going to happen just now. We can stay outside, we can play in the sun, and we can work together to turn the region into a powerhouse of innovation and entrepreneurship. Thanks very much.